Welcome to PowerCoat Music. In this presentation, we are going to talk about home studio builds and updates and how to discover exactly what you need. Not what everyone else is interested in, but specifically what you need. Folks on the internet, especially platforms like YouTube, love to tell you what home studio gear you need because they either have something to sell you or they've had success with products that works well for them, that is, from their perspective. However, that approach can be short-sighted because the impact on so many others from this is that they waste the time and money on gear that does not meet their specific needs or blocks their productivity for a number of professional or personal reasons. Now, the bottom line here is that we know that many people cannot be their most productive using the same products and processes that other folks think are great. Doesn't always work that way, and I'm one of those people. Musicians must have the tools and the ability to discover for themselves what works best for them in their home studios, especially when time and money is tight. Now, this topic isn't really covered very often, if at all, so you're going to want to grab your coffee and your tea and stay with me because this is a topic that you should not miss. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe that you should know your gear, but you should never put the cart before the horse. What I mean by that is if you don't know how to figure out what you need to be the most productive first, then knowing a lot about gear isn't going to help you make the right purchases to build or update your home recording studio. Too many people that I've worked with in the past have all the time and money in the world to fix problems when something goes wrong. However, they never have the time or money and willingness to do things the right way to begin with. Now, if you're the type of person who's impatient, you love to shop for gear and excited about it, and time and money is no object, then this presentation is not for you. This presentation is for the home recording studio folks who are serious about making and keeping their personal environments the most productive for them to work in. If this is you, then you've landed in the right place. For the past 20 years, I professionally help business entities, from Fortune 500 companies all the way down to startups, discover and document their business requirements for both big and small projects with 100% success, saving these businesses both time and money. Identifying requirements is something businesses have struggled with for a long time, and many people have this same challenge. In this presentation, I'm going to share with you my time-proven process that I adapted to home recording studios that you can use to find out exactly what you need to build and update your home studio. Now, this is opposed to someone telling you what you need who knows nothing about you. The great thing about this process is that you can adapt it to derive exact requirements for virtually anything. That's the cool part. But before we start, it's important to note that this process only works if you can sit down, think through and define your goals, if your answers to the upcoming questions are honest, and if you can invoke patience and discipline through the upcoming process. With this, let's get started. We're going to jump right into the home recording studio build and update requirements discovery process. Repeatable, flexible, and reliable processes are the alpha and omega for creating professional sounding music productions. The act of documenting processes that you use to record and produce your music, and then extracting items from those processes to build your requirements can be a simple one. It's important to follow these steps with discipline to create reliable home studio requirements that can save you time and money with your current and future projects. These are going to work for you. Now, the first step is part one. That is, Document the working processes you go through to record and produce your songs from beginning to end. Create a recipe. Start at the beginning, go all the way through, and write down all the events that it takes for you to produce a song. Now, this can be as high level or as detailed as you wish, as long as all of the steps to complete the overall task are present. And you might say, well, one of these tasks are so varied. In this particular situation, I might do this. Another situation, I might do that. Then when you get to that point, just put what you expect to get from those variations, okay? And then move on to the next step. Now, this is important as it is the catalyst and the anchor for your home studio recording requirements discovery process. Now, examples of high-level working processes are, for instance, these four events. All songs are recorded using a digital multi-track recorder. The recorded tracks are mixed down to 2 tracks. Effects are added to the mixdown. The mixdown is mastered and prepared for production release. So once you do that, you get your high-level process. You want to define the working perspectives that represent all of the possible process point of views in your home studio, and then document the high-level working processes for each of those views. So, for instance, examples of working perspective views in your home studio, maybe it's all you, and they could all be the recording musician. What is the high-level process for that? Write it down. Again, it's a recipe, just like a recipe. All the steps you need to do to complete the production or complete that step in the production process. Next is recording engineer view or mastering view or producer view. Again, these are going to be different for each individual person or maybe group home studio. Moving on, we're going to go on to part 2. Next is going to be your scenario list. Now, in this case, what I mean by a scenario list, as it's defined here, is this is a raw list of both the needs and wants for your song recordings and productions. It's based on your documented working processes, not anybody else's, just yours. Now, within your working perspectives, you want to define all of your wants and needs on this list at a high level. Do not deviate from your working processes. All of your wants and needs should be able to relate back to your previous working processes. That is important. Now, keep it simple. If your wants and needs are too long, break them down into shorter sentences and group them together. So, for instance, example scenario list items include, and you want to list them in this manner using this terminology. I want to be able to have enough inputs on my mixer for all of my MIDI keyboards. That's a want. I need to be able to minimize or eliminate background noise when recording live vocals. And then the third scenario list item is also a need. So everything is going to be phrased in a way of I want to be able to or I need to be able to. Moving on, we have part 3, which is going to be scenario list items. Number 1 is list as many high-level scenarios that relate to your working processes as possible. Assumptions are welcome and expected, and if the want or need is technical, be as specific as possible. I want to be able to, I need to be able to. Now, here's the prime directive. It's extremely important. All scenario list items must relate to areas of the the current working process. Again, everything that you want and you need should be able to relate back to your working processes. Extremely important. This gives your requirements integrity. Let's move on to the second step, and that's going to be the scenario list analysis and prioritization. Now, what this means is you need to, number 1, carefully review your scenario list for potential requirements. That is your I want to be able to, I need to be able to list. Number 2 is you want to analyze, update, and select only, at this point, only the scenario items in your scenario list that are needed or must-haves. So the I need to be able to's in order to complete your song production 100%. What do I need out of my scenario list to complete my song production 100%? And now, again, important, you want to focus on the I need scenarios, not the I wants. Number 3, Add the I need scenario items that you extract from your scenario list to a new and separate list. Name home studio requirements or anything you want to name it, and remove those same I need items from your current scenario list. So then your current scenario list will then have just the I wants. The third step is to now in your new home studio requirements list, you are going to add a brief 1 to 2 sentence summary description for each list item, for each I need list item. Add more detail if you need to. Number 2, this is critical. List anything and everything you must have to make each item work for you. This is critical, okay? Because once you complete all of the above tasks, this will unveil the requirements for what you are seeking for your home studio build or update, okay? That will give you what you need to have. You will now have the tools to go out and ask the right questions about specific gear that is actually going to help you, not someone else, just you. So in summary, it is critical that the sequence of events for documenting home studio build and update requirements be followed in this order to ensure you are clear as to what you must do in order to be the most productive in your home studio. You do not waste time and money buying gear that may not work best for your specific workflow. You are able to know the difference from the gear you want and the gear you need to get the job done. You are better prepared to ask the right questions about the right products for your home studio recording. And last but not least, it is important to note that whenever you change your working processes, that is, if you change the way you do things in the studio, okay, repeat this sequence of events to arrive back at this point. Once your requirements are identified and defined, the leftover I wants in your scenarios list are the cool and fun items that you can later add to your home studio after you have the things you really need to get the job done. In summary, there are always going to be folks out there who will say that the process I shared with you is just too complicated. They may be happy with their current strategies and their music productions, and to them I say, congratulations and more power to you. However, if they find at some point in the future that maintaining and updating their home studios is becoming increasingly difficult, then this process is always there for them to try. Now, it's taken me decades to get my studio to where it's the best environment for me and to be able to maintain that. My home studio is not meant to be the ideal workplace for anyone but me. And after using this process that I shared with you, it finally is. Well, that's a wrap. If you like this presentation, please give it the thumbs up and click the subscribe button on your screen now and join our group. We have new presentations coming out every 7 to 14 days, and we would love to have you be a part of our team. Also, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let us know what you think about this presentation, and check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Spotify. While you're here, listen to some of the other music and check out some of the other videos, and especially the playlists, because they're designed just for you. Thank you so much for stopping by. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you soon.